When I married Robert Kreiss, I wasn't finished with life. I wanted children. I'd been an orphan a long time. I didn't have a family. Hadn't seen my mother for years and years and years. Had never seen any of my family except the brother that was in Long Beach, which I had enjoyed visiting. Still have some nice pictures and memories of doing things with him. But I wanted a family of my own. I wanted children. Shall I tell you what my husband said? Well, he's with the Lord now, and he probably doesn't care. So I'm going to tell a little story about him. One of the things he said not long after we were married, maybe a week or two, was, "No children." Why do you think I got married? One of the main reasons I wanted to get married is because I wanted a family. I wanted children. So what did I do? I said, "Okay, Lord, it's up to you now." So when you turn things over to the Lord, he knows how to turn them right side up. Nothing we did, I'm putting this carefully, nothing we did kept me from having children. We moved to an apartment, and next thing we knew, I was expecting a baby. Well, what do you know? I'm expecting, that's impossible. It's totally impossible. And I am anyway. But you know what? Robert Kreiss never said a word about not wanting children. What he did do, he refused to choose a girl's name. It's going to be a boy, he says. So we named him David. Well, he didn't want to be named after himself, Robert, so I said, well, we could use your middle name. So our first baby was going to be called Robert Stephen Kreiss. But in those days, we didn't know what we were going to get.
David Stephen Kreiss.
David Stephen Kreiss.
Right, there you go.
And so in those days, you don't know whether you're going to have a boy or a girl. So I said to him, well, what if we have a girl? It's going to be a boy. Well, what if it is a girl? We don't have a name for her. We're not going to have a girl. We're going to have a boy. I said, well, what if we did have a girl? Okay, we'll call her, I've forgotten.
Marquita Lindita.
Marquita Lindita. That's every time I said, Robert, we need a real girl's name, Marquita Lindita, because we're going to have a boy. Well, of course, we had a boy, Robert Stephen Kreiss, my oldest son, my first baby. Oh my goodness, how wonderful. But you know, there was a problem. I didn't know how to take care of babies. I knew almost nothing about taking care of babies. Well, Mama Milling comes into the picture again because Mama Milling is visiting me after I have the baby. And she said, I'll come over and bathe him for you because, you know, you need to take a little rest for a while. And I thought, well, that's a wonderful idea because I didn't know how to bathe the baby anyway. So, but I'm a nurse. I know how to take care of babies. We had them in the hospital all the time. We put a nice clean cloth on a table. Everything was sterile. You cover it up. And when the baby nurses, you make sure everything is clean and neat, and the baby nurses. Then you weigh the baby. Well, no, you don't weigh the baby then. You weigh the baby before it nurses. And then then when the baby's finished nursing, you weigh the baby again. And then you find out how much milk the baby has had. Well, naturally, that's the way I did it.
Mm.
But David was the first of 8 children. But how did I get 8 children when I only bore 7? We were very fortunate because we moved to a great big house next to a great big house, and there was a woman there who had 2 children. One was an older daughter. By this time I had 7 children, David and his sister Doris, and more boys. And this poor woman wasn't able to take care of her little boy. In fact, she drank too much. Well, the little boy's name was something...
Salvador Decker.
Salvador Decker. And Salvador Decker was just about the same age as Debbie Elizabeth Robbins.
Kreiss.
I get mixed up in my old age, only 95. So unfortunately, this poor lady couldn't take care of this little boy, and I took care of him. Eventually, we were given custody of him, and eventually the Lord blessed us with a 6th son whom we renamed Dale Nathaniel Kreiss. So that lasted for quite a while. And then,
tell us how you called the kids. You used to do it all the time.
So, with that many children, it wasn't very nice to go out in the neighborhood and say, David, Doris, on down the line. No, you can't do that. All the neighbors would be sticking their heads out looking what's going on. So, you know what I did? I'd call them. This is how I'd call them. I think I can do this.
Used to be much louder.
Used to be lots louder and much longer.
But when you were angry with us and you'd yell at us, you used to call all of us almost, you'd stutter. Show us how you did that.
David, Doris, Daniel, Douglas, Donald. Can I say this? Now they are all grown up. They all have their own children. And all I have at home is a dog.